Hi guys, thank you for joining me. Oliver, no. Um, Thank you for joining me. The cat's wanting up here. So this will be part 3 of our DIY book series. So part 1 was cutting the signatures, and you can see they're very neat, and I go through all that in part 1 and piercing the holes. Part 2 was sewing in the signatures, and you can see how neat and great that looks. And then these raised areas around the holes. I have this really neat agate score tool, and then it works nice to smooth those areas out around the stitches because there's raised areas, you know. You can use your fingernail, you can use whatever you want just to smooth that out around the holes so you don't have any raised paper areas bugging you. Okay? Or looking, see, now that looks better, right? Because when you pierce paper, you damage it, and then you can see it. And I don't like to see it on the inside. So I've learned you can use any score tool just to go along that row of stitching. And then it smooths it all out around the holes. See? Neat? You like? So now we have our cover pieces cut. We did that in another video maybe. Okay? I don't remember. So what we did was we sewed both signatures through one row of hose. I've learned that if you do a row of hose for every signature when you have 4-6 signatures in a little book, then that's gonna be a lot of holes in the back inner spine piece, and it loses strength. So now I've learned to put, these are very thin signatures, so now I've learned to put 2 signatures through one hole, and we have very thin signatures. I think these are only 4 pages per signature. That's the key to making a book, is little signatures. Okay? And a hidden spine. Inner spine. And then we'll cover it up when we wrap it. So our inner spine is just like not even an 1/8 of an inch shy of our outer spine piece in width. It's not as wide. Just because we don't want the interference when we start covering it all. If we just need that to be not as wide and not bulgy and out of our way. Okay? I didn't plug the glue gun in. Oh, it's still plugged in from yesterday. Is it still hot? Oh my God. Oops. I don't even know if it's okay to use. It's coming out the seams. Let's see. Yeah, it's still, oh well, heck, I left that in yesterday. Well, golly. I wish mine had auto shut off. Okay, so what we're going to do first is, what we did was I'm starting to make my spine pieces wider to account for the thickness, and I want this groove in it. Versus this one, I made it just wide enough, and it doesn't have these grooves like I like. The grooves of a real book, okay? We added just an 1/8 of an inch to the top and bottom. And we're not adding anything to the outside because we are going to, when we glue this down, we're going to pull this out to give us that groove that books have, because I like that gutter, whatever it's called, that books have. So that is going to be our outside. Okay? And it looks like that's going to be a little big, but that's okay. But I want the gutter to, oh no, I might trim those a little bit. No, it's fine. So what we're going to do here is, let's see. Okay. We are going to glue this down. You don't want to use too much glue because it does start getting soft on you and it's harder to work with. So, you know, just spread it out neatly so it's not any bulges, okay? And you don't want to, you know, I have been using too much glue, so we don't want to do that, okay? There. And we're going to put it right down here and give ourselves, you know, that, let's see, maybe that much to wrap around. Okay, that'll be good. Now, I want to find something consistent for the thickness. That's not enough. And I used this earlier. That width, which isn't enough. So we're just going to eyeball it. And if you need a measurement, just find something that thick. I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm not more help on that. If you need something consistent, I don't know. Okay, we'll just use that and see. No, it didn't work. I notice I haven't been leaving enough. There. And that's a little high. But we want to leave enough to give us a good gutter. I like the gutter. And I don't know the proper word for it. But you know that groove on books? Between the cover and the spine on the front. There's that recessed area. And what that is where this, there's a divide here. And then it sinks in. And I love that. I'm still working on that. Okay, now you can be exact if you want with this. You can put it on a paper trimmer. I'll just show you if you want to be perfect. Let's see. We can see that this is about a 1/2 inch over. If your paper trimmer will do that, then that's a neat way to get a 1/2 inch out of it. Here we can see that's about a 1/2 inch over. Okay. We need to keep our, what we're going to do is we're going to wrap this around, right? But when we wrap it around, we're going to come in behind the signatures and hide this inner spine piece. Okay? So we have that much room to tuck in. So our extra wraparound needs to be within that height. We can't make this 1 inch and then there's nowhere to tuck it because it's only going to tuck down to this first stitch. Okay? So we need to make sure, yes, that will go all the way. And then we know the bottom will be fine too because that's narrower. Okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to take some kind of straight edge. Where'd it go? Here. And we're gonna start pushing this along that edge. I like this edge creased on everything I do. I like running that along that edge and putting that crease in before we bend it because it does neaten it up. You can tell. I should have showed you. Well, you can tell that gives it a nice crease along that edge versus just Let me try it here. Versus just folding over. It's a little more wrinkly. It's not as clean as this flat smoothness. Okay, it does start to manipulate it a little better. Okay, I do like that touch. And you know, you can be as picky as you want with all this. So we're gonna, you do not miter very deep, and you give yourself a little room in the corner, or you're gonna have a bald corner. And we can fix it as we go, but this is a very shallow angle, and we give ourselves a little room on the corner because you do not want a bald corner. And you can cover that up with a corner piece or something. So we're coming in barely away from the corner and barely. Okay? And I don't know if I pushed that down after I glued it. Okay. Now, here is something I've started doing, and I like it. I like it a lot. Let me measure this just with my thumbnail. Okay. I'm going to trim this just inside a little bit so I don't have to. What the heck? Oh, that's my son's phone. Do you hear it? I mean, his tablet. He must have some kind of timer set. There. So we know that's not going to interfere with our wrap around. This is going to be inside our margins, and it's not even all the way. That's fine. So what we're going to do, and it does need to be cardstock. Wait, I have tried this. What we're going to do is push these grooves in, and we're going to leave them recessed on the top and flat on this side. So then that will help reinforce our gutters. I'm calling them gutters. Okay, we're calling them gutters. So how we do that is we start here, and then we give the gutter some glue. Do y'all hear that jazzy music? He sets timers, and he's gone. He went to an appointment. My son called me. Birthday boy. Okay. So we've got our glue in our gutter and on our spine only. Okay? Then we're going to place this. Okay? You're going to like this. This is a new trick I learned. Okay. And I should have put that on a piece of paper. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep the flat piece flat, and this is where we want our gutter, on the outside. Okay? And then we're going to press it down in the middle, and then we're going to start working our gutter. And make sure the paper is nice and all the way in our gutter. And can you see how this is already forming that gutter for the cover? And my problems that I've had before were when this spine piece wasn't wide enough, and then these gutters were needed to wrap around and finish the width of the spine. So now that our spine is going to be really generously wide enough, then that will allow these just to be recessed. And we're using cardstock, so we can work this quite a bit. We didn't overdo it on the glue, so it's okay. Now, what we want to do, we're training this, okay? Now what we want to do is I want to come along here, and I want to make sure it's pushed up along the spine and not on our gutter. So we're going to push pretty hard, pretty generously, to form our spine edge. And since we allowed ourselves more thickness, then we can have our spine edge. Okay? See? and our gutter. We can have them both. We can have the best of both. Now I'm going to push this up here, and I'm defining the spine edge is what I'm doing here. I'm holding it down firmly. And you have to do it in that position, because when you start doing it from the side, then it doesn't work. You have to do it from here. Okay? And you can use whichever bone folder works for you. And this also helps train the inside neatly. And we're going to hide the inside anyway. You're not going to see the inside anyway. But it won't buckle on you. And then this, we can start showing this, like you're going to sit down like that. Because this gutter has been the hardest part of a book for me, is making this gutter. So we can start telling it, you're going to sit down like that. You're going to go that way. And you're going to lay flat on the back. And this edge is going to be nice and straight. You do not want it to get rounded. Okay. Do you like the jazzy music, guys? He picked some awful ones. This one I like. It's not bad. It sounds happy. But boy, the boy can pick some stupid music. And then he leaves. And it's got a... There, it quit. And it's got a code. And I can't even turn it off. Because he's got some kind of passcode on it. It's real... Here we go again. Okay. And you'll see with messing with that, it's a fine line between getting that nice and sharp and your gutter, because when you start messing with it, it rounds out. Okay? See here, it rounded out. And you can't push along this, or that will smash it and get rid of this neat crease. So you just need to let it fall to a sharp point and then work on the gutter. And yes, you really do have to mess with it that long. You can even leave it alone for a while. Now looky there, we got a gutter. How about that? All right. Now what we're going to do, and this is no interference or anything. And I don't want to get it too wet, because I don't want it to get too soft and wrinkly on me. So we're just holding it down. We're just tacking it down. It's okay. Now we're making sure we're not taking anything out of our gutter. Okay? And then we can smooth it out, because we do not want this going down into the gutter. See that rounded out? We need to sharpen that edge before we glue it down. And if the gutter's not your thing, then boy, life got easy for you. You can just start gluing stuff down. But I like the attention to this gutter. Here, see, I'm making sure that's defined before I push this side down. Okay? And we're making sure it's defined over here. About that. And yes, it matters. To me it matters. It's my thing. That's the hardest part for me. Now we've already got this defined to roll over neatly. Remember rather. Okay. Now what we're going to do, it doesn't matter. Do we have top and bottom of this? It doesn't matter to this one. Okay, but you want to make sure you get your top up. And you find a top on here. Which one looks good on the front? You know, which side do you like the best? I think I like that one. Okay, let's make sure that has enough. Yes. So then what we're going to do with my glue gun I left on since yesterday, you cannot use too much glue. You got to be careful, because yesterday I used too much and it blurred, smeared out and got in the way of our gutter. It was like glue bulges coming out the edge, and we don't want that. Okay? And you center it and you push it down. And we have a little bit of a glue bulge there. I'm going to try to clean it up with my fingernail because yesterday I was having to operate and move them out. And that's on the spine piece, so it'll be okay. And no glue bulges. Good. Just do a thin bead of glue. And then that, see, we got a bit there. But yesterday we had chunks, and then it was messing with all of this stuff. These clean edges. Okay? Now you're going to like this, guys. You're going to like it. So what we do is we put this here. Okay? We smooth it out. You can use a glue stick, but I just find for some stuff, you know, this kind of thing works. Okay, we're going to smooth it out. We're going to roll it, and we're going to tuck it behind these signatures. Okay, and then into the gutter. They'll go off all day. He's not done. Okay, looky there. And we tuck it into the gutter. Okay, and we're going to finish this, and all this is going to be hidden. So there, see how neatly it's finished behind the gutter? I mean behind the signatures. And now that spine piece is hidden on the top so far. We've got more hiding to do. Let me know if you try this, okay, guys? I'm really excited about it if you can't tell. It's building. I love building, and it's precision. I love precision. And it's easier than you think. I love that. We all already know how to, you know, miter and wrap and cover stuff anyway. So the difference is we're just being more precise and hiding this hidden spine piece. Inner spine piece is all we're doing. That's the only thing different. Make sure I don't glue on my hands to ugly it up. There. And that, smoothing that out. Okay. And looky here, guys. Okay. You like? Now, isn't that easier than you thought? It is fiddly. I maybe would suggest doing a practice one first, and then you can figure out your little tips and tricks, especially when we get to the next part. I do recommend doing a dummy one to start with, and you can use scraps, and you can use pieces of file folder, scraps of file folder to build the cover and stuff. You don't have, you can use tag board, you can use cereal box, it doesn't matter, you know. Okay, I would be careful. I'm getting kind of sloppy with the glue. We want to be careful. We'll have to cover what we don't like. Okay. There. Now we have a book. Looky there. It looks like a real book, guys. It already looks like a real book. Can you believe it? Look, we did it. We did it. How about that? Now we're not done. We have got to cover this. Okay? We are not done yet. Okay? And what I've been doing on some of this glue is I've already said this, but I don't know. We had a bunch of hand sanitizer left from the plague. So then what I do is hand sanitizer seems to clean up glue pretty quick if your paper can tolerate it. You know, it's alcohol, it'll dry real quick. But like these edges here, you know, hand sanitizer does clean up glue pretty good. Unless you want to let it dry and use an eraser, or just be careful and don't do all that. But that will dry and it'll be fine, okay? Don't rub on it so much you disturb the smoothness of the surface. Okay? Now that got a little wrinkle. Let's see if we can smooth it out. Nope, that got a crease, but it'll get covered up. Okay. So we're going to call this part 4. There. Looky there. We made a book, guys. We made a book. And our outer, see, this distance is going to be our distance from the page to the outer cover. So you can see this is a little far. We could have trimmed this down a hair, and I've had that be too big before. So there, we made a book, guys. Now I only put 2 spines, and I mean 2 signatures. I know it's not very full, but it's a book, and look how much it looks like a book. Okay? Part 4 coming your way. Love you, bye.